Humongous week over in Africa as the World Cup qualifications return. We've got some countries on the brink of qualification and some on the brink of elimination. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we take a look at the World Cup qualifiers over in Africa, and we'll get to it in just 1 second. If you're new, where you been? Smash your subscribe, your one-stop shop for Blackburn Rovers, World Cup qualifiers, World Cup itself. That's right, all here under one roof. I believe it is Matchday number 9 over in Africa, with, of course, the Africa Cup of Nations on the horizon, but all right here right now. The focus is qualifying for the 2026 World Cup. Who, of course, will get closer, who, of course, will be eliminated. We'll get into all of that and much more in a second. Big shout out to the members and the patrons. You know who you are, but of course, if you're new, hit the old subscribe. Let's get into it then, shall we? Of course, going through the tables at the moment over in Africa. This is the situations as it stands. What I mean by that, only 2 countries have actually qualified so far via the African qualification process. To do that, you got to finish top of your group. Of course, anyone that finishes in second will possibly also join them via the second round. Of course, we'll elaborate on that in just a second, but the situation as it stands, as you see it, Egypt top of the pops in Group A with Burkina Faso in hot pursuit. Senegal lead the charge in Group B. Democratic Republic of Congo is in second spot with 16 points. Benin and South Africa duking it out. Now, South Africa were in charge of that group, but they had a points deduction, which now sees Benin top of the pops. Nigeria, also Super Eagles, also in that group, and at the minute they are not qualifying. Let's hop down to Group D. Cape Verde are in charge with 4 points clear over Cameroon, who are in second spot. Morocco are there. They've qualified well clear of Tanzania. As you can see, they're on the home stretch in regards to games. Tanzania could also join them via the old second spot, but it does look unlikely. Group F sees Ivory Coast in charge with that one, with Gabon in second place, just a 1 point adrift. Meanwhile, Algeria getting closer. They are 4 points clear over Uganda in Group G. With Mozambique also in hot pursuit. Tunisia, they are also there. They've confirmed their spot via Group H. Namibia in second spot. Group I has Ghana in charge with Madagascar, Comoros, all duking out for the second spot there. And this is the current situation in the second spot. Again, it doesn't guarantee you nothing, but the top 4 of the second place teams will go through to a second round, and basically we whittle it down to another process to see who will actually end up in the World Cup itself. So that's the situation in the tables, but of course we are now focused on the next round of games. And these are the next round of games, that's right. Now they're going to take place over the course of the next 3 days, so I have a slide for each day. This one, of course, focuses on the 8th of October, the next one the 9th and 10th, and so on and so forth, of course. Then returning back on the channel in about a week's time, we'll come back for the next round of games as well. So let's get into it then and have a little look at the next round, which of course kicks it all off with Ethiopia taking on Guinea-Bissau. That's right. Now this is over in Group A with Ethiopia currently find themselves in 5th spot. They've got 6 points to the name. They're coming into this on back-to-back defeats up against the Guinea-Bissau side, who are on 4th with 10 points, but they're coming into this unbeaten in the last 2 matches. They have played once. It was earlier in the qualification phase and ended up being 0-0. Now coming into this, Ethiopia haven't scored a goal in the last 2 matches. Guinea-Bissau, though, on the back of that win over Djibouti. We got basic odds on this one. They go with Guinea-Bissau. I don't think so. I think I'm going to go right down the middle on this one. A point apiece, goal apiece, but nothing much in the end on that one. Meanwhile, joining them, Djibouti up against Egypt, same group. That's Group A. Djibouti currently find themselves in 6th spot with 4 defeats on the spin there. Up against Egypt, top of the pops, 20 points for them. They're looking A-OK and look set to be going to the World Cup shortly. They played Djibouti 3 times. They've won all 3 of them, including a 6-0 victory when they played in Egypt back in November 2023. Coming into this, Djibouti again, just like previous match there, they're back-to-back games without a goal, losing to Guinea-Bissau and Burkina Faso. They got conceded 8 goals in those last 2 games. Up against Egypt, on the course of what we're looking at here, quite a long record without conceding a goal, at least 6 games without conceding a goal. And of course, red hot favourites for this game, and they should win this one. Going to go with a 2-0 win as well to add to their locker, and of course, probably seal the deal as well. Sierra Leone, though, they're up in action against Burkina Faso, and they're also taking place in this group. Burkina Faso are currently find themselves in second with 15 points, unbeaten in the last 2. Up against Senegal, also unbeaten in the last 2, just 1 defeat though in the last 4 for them. They sit third, and they've got an outside sniff for finishing at least second in this one. They've taken on each other just the once. It was earlier in the campaign. It was a 2-2 scoreline in Burkina Faso back in June 2024. Sierra Leone on the back of a 2-0 win over Ethiopia. Burkina Faso picking up that draw against Egypt last time around. The bookies' odds will go with the visitors on this one. I think it also could be a draw. A lot riding on this one in regards to points and stuff like that. Mauritius, they're taking on Cameroon. That's right, that's coming at you over in Group D. Mauritius find themselves in 5th spot with 5 points, but the winners in the last 10. Up against Cameroon, who find themselves in 2nd with 15 points. Just 1 defeat in the last 6 matches for those guys. They've taken on Mauritius 3 times. They've won all 3. Including a 3-0 win last time around in Cameroon back in November 2023. They did play also in Mauritius way back in June 2008, and they picked that 3-0 win in that one as well. So over the course of those 3 matches, 3 wins, 3 clean sheets, and looking good to win this one as well. Mauritius on the back of that 3-1 loss to Angola. Cameroon did lose to Cape Verde, who are in prime time position to qualify for this World Cup at this moment. But Cameroon expected to win this game. I think they will as well. Going to go with a 2-0 win to take it to the house. Let's go to Libya. They take on Cape Verde, same group. That's Group D. Libya, of course, in 3rd place with 14 points, just 1 defeat in the last 6. Up against Cape Verde, who are on the cusps of going to the first World Cup. They're unbeaten in at least the last 6. Picking up 4 wins and a couple of draws as well. They've taken on Libya 3 times, won twice, lost the once, no draws so far. They last played over at Libya. It was a 2-1 win for Cape Verde way back in September 2015. The reverse fixture in this campaign was a 1-0 win for Cape Verde back in June 2024. Libya, though, on the back of back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets. Up against Cape Verde, also on back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets. Tight one here, very, very close down the mark here. Cape Verde should win this one, though. Going with a 2-1 win and probably going to the World Cup for first for those. Absolutely scenes it will be over in Cape Verde. Meanwhile, Eswatini, they're taking on Angola, of course, in Group D. Eswatini find themselves with sixth place with just 2 points, 3 defeats on the spin. In fact, they haven't won in the last 18 matches. Up against Angola, find themselves in 4th with 10 points, 2 wins, 2 defeats over the last 4. They've taken on each other 1 time, and of course, it resulted in a 1-0 win for Angola back in June 2024. Eswatini, back-to-back defeats, back-to-back games without a goal for them. Up against Angola on the back of that 3-1 win over Mauritius. Goodness gracious me. The odds here, going with Angola. I think I'm going there as well. No, sitting on the fence with a 1-1 scoreline. They have drawn 3 of the last 6, have Eswatini. And maybe add that one to the mix as well. Tanzania, they're taking on Zambia, of course, over in Tanzania. This is over in Group E. The hosts sit 2nd right now, 10 points for them, but they're winless in the last 4. Up against Zambia, who are 4th, 5 defeats on the spin. They're down there with just 6 points. They played each other 5 times since 2009. 2 wins Zambia, 1 win for Tanzania. There's been 2 draws. Coming into this, they last played, and it was in Zambia. It was a 1-0 win for Tanzania way back in June 2024. I cannot see a record when Tanzania hosted this match, so this will be a first. Coming into this, though, Tanzania on the back of that 1-0 loss to Nigeria. Zambia on the back of a 2-0 loss to Morocco to make it back-to-back defeats, back-to-back games without a goal as well for Zambia. They're expected to lose this game, but it is tight between these two. Could go either way. I think I am leaning towards a Zambian victory here, which of course doesn't make much sense. But it's a 0-0 draw. Surprise you. I pulled that one out the bag. Anyway, Niger, they're taking on Congo Republic. Let's come at you over in Niger, over in Group E. Niger sit 3rd right now, 9 points for them, just 1 win in the last 6. Up against the Congo Republic, winless in at least the last 11 matches. They sit 5th with 1 point. They've taken on Niger 5 times to 2012, 1 win apiece, and 3 draws. They last played over at Niger. It's a 2-2 scoreline way back in September 2013. Previous match, though, ended up, it was never played. It was the game that was never played. You know, this will be the first encounter in this qualification phase. Congo, though, are on the back of that 1-1 scoreline against Tanzania. Meanwhile, Niger on the back of that 1-0 win over Tanzania. So, but they are pretty tight at the back. 3 clean sheets in the last 4 matches for Niger against the Congo side. And the bookies, they'll go with Niger. I think I'm going with the Congo victory, which will be a first in a long time, so I'm not too sure about that looking at it. Meanwhile, Chad, they're taking on Mali over, of course, on the 8th as well. Just over in Group I. Chad find themselves in 6th with just 1 point. Up against the Mali side, who are 4th with 12 points, and they played Chad 5 times in 2008. They've won all 5 of them, including a 3-1 win when they last played in Mali back in November 2023. They also played in Chad most recently back in November 2019. It also resulted in a 2-0 win for Mali. Mali on the back of a 1-0 loss to Ghana. Big loss that was in the grand scheme of things. Chad also losing Madagascar. But Mali should win this game, as have I. Oh, I've gone with another 0-0 draw. This looks interesting. What am I doing? What am I doing down here? Yeah, 3 draws on the spin. Wow, wow, wee, wow. Meanwhile, Central African Republic taking on Ghana. The Black Stars coming at you in the Central African Republic. They played each other three times since 2022. 2 wins for Ghana, nothing for the Central African Republic, and 1 draw, of course. Ghana coming in top spot right now over in Group I with 19 points, just 1 defeat in the last 6 up against the Central African Republic, who are winless in at least the last 13. They last played, it was in Ghana, it was a 7-goal thriller. Ghana came out on top with a 4-3 win way back in June 2024. They last played over in this country, 1-1 scoreline it was, way back in June 2022. Central African Republic are winless in a long, long time. They haven't scored a goal in at least the last 5 matches. Up against Ghana, they're picking up a 1-0 win over Mali most recently. The Black Stars should win this game, and I've definitely better have one here. 2-0 winners, yes indeed. Ghana taking the points and getting closer to the World Cup. Finally, on this day, Comoros taking on Madagascar. It's coming at you over in Comoros, over in Group I. They sit 3rd right now with 15 points. They've won 2 of the last 3. Up against Madagascar, coming in 2nd spot with 16 points. They've won 5 of the last 6. They've taken on Comoros 7 times since 2007. 2 wins Comoros, 4 wins Madagascar. There's been 1 draw. They last played over at Comoros. It was a 1-0 win for the hosts way back in November 2024. The reverse fixture in Madagascar for this campaign also ended up with a 1-0 win for Comoros. Goodness gracious me. So of the 2 wins that Comoros have won, they're actually on a back-to-back winning streak right now and look to add another one to their locker. Coming into this, though, they are on the back of that 2-0 win over the Central African Republic. Madagascar, though, on the back of back-to-back wins. Also beating Central African Republic and Chad. Bookies odds for this one, they'll go with Comoros for the victory. That will be 3 on the bounce for them. I think I'm also going with a win. No, another draw, that's right. So these are the games that take place on the 8th. Let's hop on over to the ones that are taking on the 9th. That's right. It's just a handful. So let's get into the deep end and have a look at these 6 matches, of course, coming on. Kick it all off with a trip to Burundi as they take on Kenya. That's my boys, that's right. Burundi and Kenya rock horns over in Group F. Burundi sit 4th right now, 10 points for them, 2 defeats on the spin. Up against the Kenyan side, who sit 5th with 9 points, 1 win in the last 3 matches. They've taken on each other just the once since 2024, and it ended up being a 1-1 scoreline. There was a reverse fixture. Kenya, though, on the back of that 5-0 win over the Seychelles. Burundi on the back of that 2-0 loss to Gambia. That makes back-to-back games now without a goal for Burundi. It is tight. Burundi are actually favoured for the victory on this one. I've got to back my boys, surely. Going with a 1-0 win for Kenya, whose dream is probably over for the World Cup journey next year. Meanwhile, Somalia, they're taking on Algeria. Not too sure about this game, if it's going to go ahead or not. But anyway, they're coming at it on the 9th, of course. Somalia find themselves in 6th place with just the 1 point up against Algeria, who are top. And they've got 19 points to their name. Just 1 window in the last 6 for Algeria. They played each other just the once. It resulted in a 3-1 win in the reverse fixture way back in November 2023. Uganda, though, picking up a 2-0 win over Somalia most recently. And again, 4 games without a goal for Somalia. As for Algeria, coming in just on the back of a draw themselves. No odds for this one. Go with the gut. Gut says a 2-0 win for Algeria if and does it go ahead. Meanwhile, Mozambique taking on Guinea. That's coming at you this coming match day over in Group G. Mozambique are 3rd, 15 points for them. Just 1 win in the last 3 up against Guinea, who are 4th with 11 points. They're on 50% form for them over the last 6. That's 1-2, lost 2, and drawn 2. They played each other 3 times since 2013. 1 win apiece and 1 draw. Last time they played over in Mozambique, it was a 0-0 scoreline way back in March 2013. The reverse fixture in this campaign was a 1-0 win for Mozambique back in June 2024. Mozambique on the back of a 2-0 win over Botswana. Meanwhile, Guinea on the back of their 0-0 scoreline against Algeria to make it back-to-back clean sheets for them. Bookies will go with Mozambique on this one. It's a tight one. I think I'm also going Mozambique. Indeed, I am. 2-1 winners for the hosts on this one. Botswana taking on Uganda. Come at you over at Botswana. They sit 5th right now in Group G within the last 4 matches. Up against the Ugandan side, who are 2nd, 15 points for them, just 1 defeat in the last 6. They've taken on Botswana 3 times since 2015. Nothing for Botswana, 3 wins for Uganda. There's been no draws. They last played over at Botswana. It was a 2-1 win for Uganda back in June 2016. And of course, the reverse fixture in this campaign was a 1-0 win for Uganda back in June 2024. The hosts on the back of that 2-0 loss to Mozambique. Botswana, of course, the visitors, Uganda, 2-0 winners over Somalia most recently. Back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets, and of course expected to win this game. I've gone with the 1-1 scoreline though, right down the middle. Goodness gracious me, another surprise out of the woodwork. Malawi taking on the Equatorial Guinea, that's right, over in Group H. They played just the once. It was a reverse fixture. It was a 1-0 win for Equatorial Guinea back in June 2024. Malawi, though, sit 4th right now. Just 1 win the last 6. They got 10 points. Up against Equatorial Guinea, who are 5th, also with 10 points, but they're on 50% form for them coming into this. They're on the back of a 1-0 loss to Tunisia. Malawi picking up a 2-2 scoreline against Libya most recently, or Liberia. Bookies on this was tight. Could go down the middle. I don't know. Yep, gone with a surprise 2-1 win for Malawi to give them some more points and maybe edge themselves a little closer towards the top 2 spots. Liberia taking on Namibia, that's right, over in Group H. Liberia sit third right now with 11 points, of course, 42% form for them right now, just 1 win though in the last 5. Up against Namibia, they sit second with 15 points, just 1 defeat for those guys right now, 58% form. They've taken on each other just the once. It was a reverse fixture back in June 2024. Namibia, though, on the back of that 3-0 win over Sao Tao Principale. Liberia on the back of that 2-2 score against Malawi most recently. Bookies for this one, it's tight again, very, very close. And then finally, the games that take place on the 10th of October. That's this coming Friday, I believe. It is South Sudan and Senegal kicking us all off on that day as another busy fixture list over in Africa. South Sudan against Senegal over in Group B, of course. South Sudan sits 6th right now, 4 points for them, winless in the last 5. Senegal, though, coming into the top of the pops, 18 points for them, 3 wins on the bounce. And, of course, they played South Sudan most recently back in November 2023, and they won 4-0. They're coming into this, though, on the back of that, a big encounter against Democratic Republic of Congo. 3-2 winners it was for Senegal, who have won, 3 in the bounce, up against South Sudan on the back of that 0-0 score against Mauritania. Don't have any odds for this one, but you got to go with Senegal. Of course you are. 2-0 winners for them. That would make it easy peasy, and we'll be going to the World Cup very, very soon. Togo against the Democratic Republic of Congo over in Group B. That's right. Togo got 4th place right now, 7 points for them, just 1 win the last 4. Up against the Democratic Republic of Congo, who are second with 16 points. They've won 2, lost 2 over the last 4 games. They've played Togo 5 times since 2006. 1 win for Togo, 4 wins for the Democratic Republic of Congo, and no draws. The last played in the reverse fixture was a 1-0 win for the DR Congo way back in June 2024. Coming into this, Togo on the back of that 1-0 win over Sudan. DR Congo with a 3-2 loss to Senegal. Again, got no odds for this one. Go with your gut. Guts as an away win again. DR Congo are definitely a threat for at least that 2nd place, and maybe much more than that. Meanwhile, Sudan, they're taking on Mauritania, also on the 10th. This is over in Group B. Sudan are 3rd right now, 12 points for them, 4 defeats on the spin up against Mauritania, who are 5th, just 1 defeat in the last 6. Of course, they played each other 4 times in 2018, 2 wins apiece. Of course, they last played in Mauritania, the reverse fixture, 2-0 winners it was for Sudan back in June 2024. Sudan, though, losing to Togo most recently. Mauritania also not getting a result against South Sudan, but they are unbeaten, like I said, in the last 4 matches, and they haven't conceded a goal in that last 4. No odds for this one. We're going to go with a 1-1 scoreline right down the middle. Not much in this one at the moment in regards to qualification. Lesotho taking on Super Eagles. That's Nigeria over in Group C. This is where it's all at here. This is where the party's at. 5th place in Lesotho. They got 9 points for them, 4 defeats on the spin up against Nigeria, who are 3rd with 11 points, but they're unbeaten the last 3. They've taken on Lesotho 3 times since 2019. They won 2 of them. There's been 1 draw. There's been no wins for Lesotho. The last match they played was the 1-1 scoreline in the reverse match in Nigeria. Lesotho losing to Benin 4-0 most recently. Nigeria picking up that away draw against South Africa to give them hope. No odds on this one, but you've got to go with the Super Eagles for sure here. 2-0 winners for them. Meanwhile, Rwanda, they're taking on South Africa. Bafana, that's right. That's coming at you also on this match day over in Zimbabwe. Where are we? If I click the wrong bloody thing. Zimbabwe up against South Africa. The Bafana coming at you over in Group C. Zimbabwe find themselves 6th right now, 4 points for them, just 1 win the last 6 up against South Africa, who are 2nd with 14 points. They're unbeaten in at least the last 6, but they've drawn 4 of that last 6. They've taken on Zimbabwe 7 times since 2010. 2 wins Zimbabwe, 4 wins South Africa. There's been 1 draw. They last played reverse fixture. It was a 2-0 win for South Africa in South Africa back in June 2025. Zimbabwe, though, picking up a draw when they last played in their country back in September 2021. Zimbabwe, though, losing back-to-back games without a goal up against South Africa, who did draw with Super Eagles most recently. I'm going to go with a win for South Africa. They've got to win. The pressure is on them now to maintain their top of the table status. Meanwhile, also in this conversation, it is Benin. They are taking on Rwanda, that's right. That's coming at you also in Group C. Rwanda 4th place right now, 11 points for them, just 1 win the last 6 up against Benin, who are top right now, 14 points, back-to-back wins for them, and they've taken on Rwanda 7 times since 2012. 1 win for Rwanda, 4 wins for Benin. There's been 2 draws. They last played reverse fixture. It was a 2-1 win for Rwanda way back in October 2024. Benin, though, picking up the record against them, 4 wins and just that 1 defeat. Rwanda did beat Zimbabwe most recently, 1-0 winners for them. Benin on the back of back-to-back home wins, of course. The last away match resulted in a loss to Morocco, of course. No odds for this one. We're going to go with a draw, though, which does open up the bit of a floodgates towards the top of the table. Into the final 3 or 4 we got here. Seychelles. They're taking on the Ivory Coast. That's right, coming at you in Group F. Seychelles, 6 defeats on the spin for them up against Ivory Coast, who are top of the pops with 20 points. Just 1 defeat in the last 6. Of course, they played each other. The reverse fixture resulted in a 9-0 win for the Ivory Coast. That's right. Seychelles also losing to Kenya most recently, 5-0. They've conceded 9 goals in the last 2. Up against the Ivory Coast, who did draw with Gabon most recently, but make it back-to-back clean sheets coming into this. They should win this one. It might even be a cricket score, but I've gone with a 3-0 win, just being a little bit conservative on those numbers right now. Into the final 2 is Gambia taking on Gabon in the battle of the Gs. Who is the G right now? Who's the GOAT out of these 2 sides? They played 3 times to 2020, 1 for Gambia, 2 for Gabon, no draws. This is over in Group F, where of course Gambia are 3rd with 10 points, just 1 defeat in the last 6, up against the Gabon, who are 2nd with 19 points, just 1 defeat as well. They did play back in Gabon back in June 2024, 3-2 winners it was for Gabon. They last played in Gambia way back in November 2020. Gambia picked up 2-1 win in that one. Gambia make it back-to-back wins, 3 wins on the spin, up against the Gabon side. We've got 3 clean sheets on the bounce. Tight one, this one. Could go either way, but I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Gambia. That's right. Upset the apple cart. And then finally, we made it. Sao Tao Principale up against Tunisia, coming at you over in Group H. The hosts on 6 defeats on the spin for them. They haven't won the last 27 games. Up against Tunisia side, who are already there. Top of the pops, 22 points for them. They've taken on Sao Tao Principale just the once. They won it. It was a 4-0 win. It was the reverse fixture. Not even going to look at the records. They should win this game. Going to go with a 2-0 win. It might be more than that. But that, my friends, completes my picks for the African Cup. That, my friends, completes my predictions for the African World Cup qualifiers for this round of games. We'll be back for another one very, very soon. So make sure you subscribe, smash the like, of course, hit the little bell. And, of course, let's see if we can get over 50 likes on this video. Do us a favour and hit the likes. But until then, see you soon. We'll be back very, very soon. Until then, we're done.